Get out, now, before I throw you out!
The security guard shoves Faith Turner's shoulder hard, pushing her toward the door.
You people can't read? This is 5-star, not a soup kitchen.
Another guard spits near her sneakers.
That shirt. Too cheap. Too cheap for this floor.
Brandon Davis laughs from the desk.
Smells like a shelter.
Caroline Brown films, howling.
Girls that fit. Girls, I'm dying.
Victoria Anderson sneers.
Trash belongs in the alley, sweetie.
A $12 Hanes tee. Faded jeans.
I have a reservation.
She says softly. The whole staff roars laughing. They don't know why. In exactly 4 minutes, every single person mocking this woman will lose their job. But let's go back to where it all began. Manhattan wakes up slow on a Tuesday morning. Rain taps against the windows of a small Brooklyn apartment. Hardwood floors creak as a light clicks on at 5:42 a.m. Faith Turner pours coffee from a dented metal pot. She takes a sip. She stares at a framed photo on the wall. A woman in a gray housekeeping uniform, smiling tired, holding a little girl with pigtails. "Morning, Mama," Faith whispers. That's Ruth Turner, Faith's mother, gone 12 years now. Faith opens her closet. 3 gray Hanes t-shirts, 2 pairs of jeans, 1 pair of worn Nike sneakers, a $40 Timex. No designer labels, nothing flashy, just a thin gold chain, her mother's wedding ring tucked underneath. She dresses in 4 minutes. Gray tee, faded jeans, sneakers. She pulls her natural curls back with a claw clip. She looks in the mirror, nods once. You would never guess this woman is worth $3.2 billion. Faith is the founder and CEO of Meridian Equity Partners. Forbes calls her one of the 50 most powerful women in American business. She testifies before Congress. She owns 14,000 employees' paychecks. And she still buys her shirts at Target for $12. This isn't an accident. This is on purpose. Detroit, 1977. Faith is 10 years old. She sits on a folding chair in the back staff room of a downtown luxury hotel. Her mother eats a cold sandwich beside her. "Mama, your hands are bleeding again." Ruth smiles. "Bleach is tough on the skin, baby. That's all." Ruth worked double shifts, $6 an hour, 12-hour days. She came home with cracked hands, swollen knees, and aching back. And one Christmas Eve, a businessman threw hot coffee at her for being too slow with the room service cart. Ruth didn't cry. Ruth didn't yell. "I'm so sorry, sir. I'm so sorry." She apologized, because she couldn't afford to lose the job. 11-year-old Faith wiped her mother's burn with a cold rag in the staff bathroom. Her hands shook. "Mama, one day I'll own places like this." "Baby, don't say that." "I will, Mama. And nobody who works for me will ever be treated like you." Ruth kissed her forehead. "Okay, baby, I believe you." 4 decades later, Faith is about to keep that promise. Today is the biggest day of her career. At 3 p.m., she will sign a $2.8 billion deal to acquire Halloway Hospitality Group. Halloway owns 52 luxury hotels across North America. The crown jewel is on 5th Avenue. The Crestwood Grand Hotel. A 5-star landmark, the kind of place her mother used to clean. The signing will happen in the penthouse boardroom. Cameras, press, champagne. Her team will be there in sharp suits. But Faith has a ritual. She calls it the housekeeper test. She arrives to the flagship property early, alone, unannounced, dressed like her mother used to dress on her day off. No entourage, just Faith Turner, a black woman in a $12 t-shirt, walking into a lobby that charges $2,000 a night. She watches. She listens. She sees how the staff treats the people they don't think matter. Her phone buzzes. A text from Harper Taylor, her chief of staff. "You heading to the Crestwood first? Do you want backup?" Faith types back. "No backup. I want to see them clean." "Faith, be careful." "I always am." She grabs her canvas duffel bag. Inside, a folded blazer, a leather notebook, and a small velvet box holding her mother's pearl earrings. She pauses at the photo on the wall, touches it. "For you, Mama." She locks her apartment door, takes the 2 train into Midtown, rides standing up, holding the pole, just like everyone else. A businessman in a Brioni suit glances at her sneakers and shifts away. Faith notices. She's used to it. She walks 3 blocks in the light rain, coffee cup warming her hand. The skyline ahead. Fifth Avenue banners flapping. At 12:47 p.m., she pushes through the revolving doors of the Crestwood Grand. Marble columns, crystal chandelier, a pianist playing Gershwin. The air smells like money and lilies. 4 staff members turn to look at her. They see the gray t-shirt. They see the worn sneakers. They see the black woman alone with a canvas duffel bag, and they decide. The revolving door hisses shut behind Faith. Her sneakers squeak once on the polished marble. Gershwin drifts from the grand piano in the corner. 4 pairs of eyes lock onto her. Brandon Davis stands behind the concierge desk in a tailored navy suit. His jaw tightens the second he sees her. He turns his back, loudly. "Oh God, not today." Caroline Brown, at the front desk, elbows her coworker. Look at what just walked in." Faith approaches calmly. Duffel bag in one hand, coffee cup in the other. Her sneakers make soft little scuffs on the floor. "Good afternoon," she says. "I'd like to check in. Reservation under F. Turner." Brandon doesn't turn around. He's pretending to type. 30 seconds pass. A full minute. Faith waits patiently. Finally, Brandon looks up. His nose wrinkles like he just smelled something bad. "Ma'am, deliveries are around the back. Service entrance is on 54th. I'm not making a delivery. I'm a guest." Brandon laughs. Sharp, ugly. "A guest? In that?" He gestures at her shirt with one manicured hand. "Ma'am, our rooms start at $1,900 a night. I don't think you're in the right place." Caroline is already filming with her phone. She angles it low, framing Faith's worn sneakers first, then tilting up to catch the gray Hanes t-shirt. She bites her lip to keep from laughing. Her thumbs fly over the screen. She sends the video into the staff group chat, Crestwood T. Y'all come see this. Target walked into the lobby." Replies light up within seconds. "Stop it! Is that a dollar store shirt? Security needs to handle this right now." Faith hears the phones buzzing. She sees Caroline filming. She says nothing. She just sets her coffee cup down gently on the counter. "My reservation was confirmed this morning," she says. "Presidential suite. Prepaid. 3 nights." Caroline snorts. "Sweetie, I'm sure it was." She types slowly into the computer, frowns theatrically, clicks around, makes a tiny tisk sound with her tongue. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything under that name. You sure you booked with us? I'm sure. Do you have a credit card? Faith reaches into her pocket and hands over a matte black American Express Centurion card. The kind of card that has no spending limit. The kind of card that costs $10,000 a year just to carry. Caroline takes it, glances at it, and laughs out loud. Oh, honey, this is fake! She holds it up in the air, shows it to Brandon. Brandon bursts out laughing. Where'd you get this, sweetheart? The flea market? I'd like you to run the card, please. I'm not running a fake card, ma'am. Do you have a real one? Faith pulls out her New York State driver's license. Caroline barely glances at it. I can't verify this. Can you please step aside? We have other guests. Behind Faith, 3 white guests have formed a polite line. A middle-aged couple in matching blazers, a businessman in a charcoal suit. Caroline waves them forward with a wide, practiced smile. Welcome to the Crestwood Grand. Checking in? The couple is processed in under 90 seconds. Keys handed over. Bellhop summoned. The businessman next. 90 seconds. Keys. Smile. Enjoy your stay, sir. Faith watches, silent. She has moved 3 steps to the side, exactly as asked. She doesn't raise her voice. She doesn't argue. Here's the thing about Faith Turner. She has spent 40 years learning not to react. Because she knows, she has always known, that the second a black woman raises her voice in a room like this, the room rewrites the story. She becomes angry. She becomes aggressive. She becomes the villain in her own humiliation. So she stays quiet. She stays still. She waits. And she remembers every single face. Brandon finally turns to her. He sighs like she's a pest he can't get rid of. Ma'am, I'm going to ask you one more time. Please leave the lobby. I have a reservation. You have nothing. Go. A new voice enters the lobby, crisp, cold, sweet, like spoiled milk. Brandon, what is going on here? Victoria Anderson, Assistant General Manager, 42 years old, blonde hair pulled into a severe chignon, black pencil skirt, red lipstick, a clipboard tucked under her arm like a weapon. She stops in front of Faith, and she does something unforgivable. She circles her, slow, like a farmer inspecting a sick cow. She takes in the shirt, the jeans, the sneakers. Then she clicks her tongue. Oh, honey, okay, let me help you. Her voice drips with fake concern. Sweetie, that shirt is Hanes, right? 3-pack from Target, $12? I recognize it. My gardener wears the same one. A few onlookers chuckle. Brandon snickers. Caroline is still filming. And those jeans, baby, those look like they're from 2009. Am I close? 2010? Faith's jaw tightens. Just a fraction. It's the first crack. Victoria leans closer, drops her voice to a loud, mock whisper that the whole lobby can hear. Honey, this is the Crestwood Grand. This isn't a shelter. We have standards here. You understand standards, right? Faith draws a slow, quiet breath. I'd like to speak to the general manager, please. Victoria laughs, a high, tinkling sound. Oh, you absolutely will, sweetie. But first, we need to handle this little situation. Our policy for suspicious guests is to search any bags they bring into the lobby. For security. That is not hotel policy. It is today, honey. She turns to Caroline. Be a dear. Get Spencer down here. Caroline grins. On it. Then Victoria turns back to Faith. Her voice goes syrupy again. In the meantime, sweetheart, why don't you empty your little bag? Show us what's inside. I will not be doing that. Oh, we're refusing now? Interesting. Brandon, note the time. Brandon writes nothing. He just smirks. Faith looks around the lobby. 6 people are openly staring. 3 of them are smiling. 2 are filming on their own phones. One elderly woman in a beige cashmere coat is not smiling at all. Her name is Margaret Smith, and she is 70 years old, and her knuckles are tight on the handle of her pocketbook. She has seen this before. She knows exactly what this is. Margaret steps forward a little, but she doesn't speak yet. She just watches. Faith keeps her hands loose at her sides. She doesn't cross her arms. She doesn't make a fist. She knows the camera is on her. She knows this footage will live somewhere tonight. Brandon leans across the desk. His tone drops to something meaner, something he wouldn't use in front of a manager. But Victoria's there, and Victoria's the one encouraging him. You know, ma'am, I'm going to be honest with you. People like you can't just walk into places like this. You have to earn it. You understand? You can't show up in a $10 t-shirt and expect to be treated like one of our real guests. People like me, Faith says it quietly. Not a question, a statement. Yeah, people who don't belong. A bellhop rolls past with a cart of designer luggage. He glances at Faith, laughs under his breath. Bro, she smells like a laundry basket. The staff laughs harder. Even the ballet supervisor, passing through, joins in. I've seen better outfits on the housekeeping floor. That one lands like a slap. Faith's fingers curl for 1 second, then relax. Because that sentence, better outfits on the housekeeping floor, those are the floors where her mother used to work. Margaret Smith has had enough. She finally opens her mouth. Excuse me, young lady. I don't know what you people think you're doing, but this is absolutely shameful. Victoria turns on her with that same dripping smile. Ma'am, this doesn't concern you. Please enjoy your stay. I absolutely will not, ma'am. Please. Margaret shuts up, but only because Faith, quietly, gently, shakes her head at her. Margaret's eyes well up. She sits back down on a velvet bench. She pulls out her own phone, and she starts filming too. But not to mock, to witness. Faith finally speaks again, calm, clear. I'd like to ask a question, for the record. For every one of these cameras that's pointed at me right now. The staff freezes for a half-second. Something in her tone has shifted. Would any of this be happening if I walked in here wearing a $5,000 suit? Silence. Brandon scoffs. Caroline rolls her eyes. Honey, this isn't about race or whatever. This is about standards. I didn't say race. You did. The lobby goes very, very quiet. And in that exact moment, through the revolving door behind Faith, the shadow of a man in a security uniform begins to grow across the marble floor. Spencer Moore has arrived. Spencer Moore fills the doorway. 6'3", 240 pounds. Shaved head. A private military tattoo curling up the side of his thick neck. The Crestwood Grand security uniform strains across his shoulders. He crosses the lobby in 6 long strides. His black boots make no noise on the marble. That's how boots like his are trained to move. Two uniformed guards flank him. One of them is resting his hand on a holstered taser, not drawing it, just letting it be seen. Victoria gives Spencer the smallest nod, like a chef sending out an order. Spencer plants himself a foot away from Faith. He looks down at her. His breath smells like cold coffee and mint gum. "Ma'am, we're walking out. Now." "I have not consented to leave." "You don't get consent in my lobby, sweetheart. Let's go." He reaches for her duffel bag. Faith's grip tightens, just barely. "Do not touch my bag. You have no legal authority to search." "Legal authority." Spencer laughs, a short, ugly bark. He turns his head to one of his guards. "You hear that, Ricky? She's got legal authority." Ricky snickers. "Hoo-hoo, a lawyer in Haines." Spencer rips the duffel bag out of Faith's hand. The zipper screams open, and he dumps her belongings onto the marble floor. Everything hits at once. The folded navy blazer, the leather notebook, 2 pens, a small velvet box, a folder of documents stamped "Confidential, Halloway Acquisition" across the top in red ink. The entire lobby gasps. Faith does not move. She is standing very, very still. Her hands are open at her sides. Spencer crouches. He rifles through the blazer pockets. He flips the notebook open and thumbs through pages of her personal handwriting. He doesn't even pretend to be professional about it. Then he snatches up the velvet box. He flips it open with his thumb. Inside, resting on cream-colored silk, are 2 tiny pearl earrings. They are old. They are not expensive. They are the only pair of jewelry Ruth Turner ever owned. Spencer lifts one between his thumb and forefinger. He holds it up to the light. "Where'd you steal these from?" Faith's whole body goes still in a new way. It's not calm anymore. It's the stillness before something breaks. "Those were my mother's." "Sure they were." He tosses the earring. It bounces off the marble with a small, sharp click. It rolls. It rolls under a velvet bench. Victoria giggles behind her clipboard. Margaret Smith stands up so fast her purse falls off her lap. She marches over to the bench, kneels, and carefully picks up the pearl earring. Her hands are shaking with rage. She walks it back to Faith. She presses it gently into Faith's palm. Her eyes are wet. "I am so sorry, honey. I'm watching all of this, every single second." Faith closes her fingers around the earring. For the first time in the entire encounter, she closes her eyes, just for one breath. Then she opens them again. Steel. But Spencer isn't done. He's still crouched over her things. He points at the red stamped folder. "What's this?" "Confidential." "Uh-huh. Let me guess, stolen paperwork?" He reaches for it. "Do not touch that folder." "Or what, sweetheart?" He picks it up. He flips it open. And then something strange happens. Spencer's eyes move across the first page. His jaw shifts. He flips to the second page. Then the third. He looks up at Victoria. His face has changed. "Victoria, what's Halloway?" Victoria's smile falters for the first time. "What?" "Halloway Hospitality Group. That's us, right? That's our parent company." "Yes, but..." "And this paperwork says there's a $2.8 billion acquisition closing today at 3 p.m. Victoria's face tightens. "Spencer, it's fake. Everything about her is fake. Put it back." But Spencer is staring at the folder, at the signature page, where, very clearly, Faith Turner CEO, Meridian Equity Partners, is printed in bold. He looks up at Faith. Slowly. Faith looks back. Her expression has not changed. Spencer's training kicks in. Doubt. Hesitation. He wavers for half a second, and Victoria sees it. Spencer, what is wrong with you? She printed that off the internet. Get her out of the lobby, now! Spencer snaps back into his job. His jaw sets. He stands. He steps in close to Faith, chest to chest. He lowers his voice so only she can hear. You got 5 seconds to walk, or I walk you. I'm waiting for someone. You've got no one coming, sweetheart. He puts his hand on her shoulder. Not roughly. Not yet. Just there. A warning. And that is the moment General Manager Gregory Wilson descends the grand staircase. 58 years old, a $6,000 Navy Brioni suit, silver hair combed back, small wire-rim glasses. He walks the way men who have never been told no walk, slowly, diagonally, as if the floor belongs to him. He does not greet Faith. He does not even look at her directly. He speaks to Spencer, loudly, for the lobby. Spencer, please escort this woman off the property immediately. I don't want another minute of this routine vagrancy disturbing my paying guests. Routine vagrancy. The word lands in the lobby like a hammer. Wilson turns away. He adjusts his cufflink. He throws one more sentence over his shoulder as he walks toward the elevators. Really, some people just don't understand what private property means. Or dress codes, honestly. He pushes the elevator button. Margaret Smith is openly crying now. Her phone is still filming. She is shaking. Faith watches Wilson walk away. She does not say a word. Then Spencer's grip on her shoulder tightens. He gives her a small, insulting shove. Not hard enough to knock her down, hard enough to move her. She stumbles half a step. The lobby gasps for the second time. Margaret screams, "Oh, that is enough!" And now look, I don't know what you would do, but if I were standing in that lobby right now, watching a security guard throw a woman's dead mother's earring on the floor, watching her stumble from a shove, you guys, my blood is 7 miles past boiling. And the craziest part? Faith still has not raised her voice. Not once. Because she knows something none of these idiots know yet. She's the one holding the detonator. Faith steadies herself. She does not swing back. She does not shout. She reaches into her pocket. She pulls out her phone. An older model iPhone, the screen slightly cracked in one corner. She dials one number. Harper Taylor picks up on the first ring. Faith speaks 6 words. Harper, bring the papers. Front lobby. She hangs up. Spencer scoffs. Oh, she's calling her boyfriend? Her social worker? Caroline cackles. Bring the papers, she says. Like what, her food stamps? Brandon doubles over laughing. Oh my God! Oh my God! This is so sad! Faith slides the phone back into her pocket. Then she turns. Slowly. She looks at Wilson, who has paused at the elevator bank, one hand on the doorframe, watching the show. She does not raise her voice. She speaks clearly, loud enough to carry across the marble. Mr. Wilson, you might want to stay. Wilson turns, amused. His silver eyebrows go up. Excuse me? I said, you might want to stay. You're going to want to witness the next 4 minutes. Wilson laughs. a rich, confident laugh. He checks his Rolex. "Ma'am, I don't know who you think you are, but I assure you, I have a 3 o'clock meeting that is significantly more important than whatever this is." "Your 3 o'clock meeting is with me, Mr. Wilson." The lobby goes silent. Absolutely silent. Even the pianist in the corner lifts his hands from the keys. For one single moment, the only sound in the Crestwood Grand Hotel is the soft hum of the air conditioning and the faint buzz of 6 different phone cameras still recording. Wilson's smile does something strange. It locks. It freezes in place. The rest of his face doesn't know what to do. "I'm sorry?" "Your 3 o'clock meeting, penthouse boardroom, Holloway acquisition signing, the $2.8 billion deal." Wilson takes one step back from the elevator. "Ma'am, that's with me." Victoria's clipboard slides out of her hand. It smacks the marble and skitters across the floor. Brandon's face drains. All at once, like someone pulled a plug. Caroline is still filming, because she doesn't understand yet. Her brain hasn't caught up. Spencer takes one step back from Faith. His hand leaves her shoulder. Outside the revolving doors, 3 things begin to happen simultaneously. 3 black Cadillac Escalades pull up to the curb in a tight convoy. A WSJ reporter, arriving early for a separate interview, steps out of a town car and sees the commotion through the lobby window. He starts walking faster. And a tall black woman in a navy suit, carrying a thick leather portfolio, pushes through the revolving door with the calm authority of someone who has done this 100 times. Harper Taylor has arrived. And she is not alone. Harper Taylor walks into the lobby like she owns it. In about 10 minutes, she technically will. Behind her comes Jordan Williams, General Counsel for Meridian Equity Partners. 6'2", charcoal suit, a thick leather portfolio under his arm. Behind him, 2 Meridian board members, and behind them, a press team of 3, a photographer, a videographer, and a communications director. The WSJ reporter, Daniel Moore, slips in right behind them, notebook already open. The pianist does not start playing again. Harper walks directly to Faith. She does not glance at Spencer. Spencer has taken another full step back. His hands have drifted away from his taser. His body knows what his brain does not. Harper's voice is low, warm only for Faith. "Miss Turner, are you all right? What happened to your things?" Ms. Turner. The 2 words echo through the marble lobby like a bell. Brandon makes a small, choking sound. Caroline's phone is still in her hand, still filming, but her thumb has gone slack. Victoria's mouth is slightly open. Nothing comes out. Wilson is not moved from the elevator bank. His face has gone the color of skim milk. Harper crouches. She begins gathering Faith's belongings off the floor. Faith stops her. "Harper, leave them. They're evidence now." Harper nods once. She stands. Jordan steps forward. He clears his throat. He speaks loudly, clearly, so every camera in the lobby catches every word. "For the record, and for the Wall Street Journal representative I see arriving right now," he nods at Daniel Moore. Moore lifts his notebook. "My name is Jordan Williams. I am General Counsel for Meridian Equity Partners. The woman standing in this lobby, whose bag was illegally searched, whose personal property was thrown on the ground, and who was physically shoved by your head of security, is Ms. Faith Turner." He pauses, lets it land. Ms. Turner is the founder, chairman, and chief executive officer of Meridian Equity Partners. The lobby is dead quiet. Meridian manages $3.2 billion in assets. Ms. Turner has appeared on Forbes. She has testified before Congress. She is one of the 50 most powerful women in American business. Jordan opens the portfolio, pulls out a thick stack of bound documents, holds them up. These are the closing documents for Meridian's acquisition of Halloway Hospitality Group. $2.8 billion. That deal signs at 3 p.m. today. In approximately 1 hour and 32 minutes. He turns slowly, looks directly at Wilson. At which point, Mr. Wilson, Ms. Turner will be the sole owner of Halloway Hospitality Group, every one of its 52 properties, including this one, including the payroll, including your employment contract. He pauses. She will be your landlord, your employer, and your boss. The sound that comes out of the lobby is not a gasp. It is smaller and worse. A collective sucking in of breath, as if the whole room has just been punched. Caroline's phone slips out of her hand. It hits the marble. The glass screen cracks straight across. She does not pick it up. Brandon takes 3 steps backward, and his calf hits a decorative ceramic urn. The urn wobbles, tips, crashes into a dozen pieces. Nobody looks at it. Victoria's skin has gone gray. She is whispering, "Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God!" Spencer has both hands in the air, palms open, like a man proving he was never holding a gun. Wilson is the worst. Wilson is the color of paper. His mouth opens and closes, and nothing comes out. Faith finally speaks. Her voice is not loud. It does not need to be. "I came into this lobby 17 minutes ago." She walks, calmly, to the front desk. The staff parts for her like water. She turns the computer monitor toward the lobby, angles it so Daniel Moore can see the screen. F. Turner, Presidential Suite. Checked in electronically at 5:38 this morning. Prepaid. And right here, she points, a note entered at 5:52 a.m. by Caroline Brown. VIP guest. Do not disturb. Caroline starts to cry. "You knew," Faith says. "All of you knew." She picks up her mother's pearl earring from where Margaret pressed it into her palm. She looks at it for 1 second, then slides it carefully into the velvet box Harper hands her. She turns to the lobby. "You saw me walk in. You looked at my shirt. You looked at my shoes. You looked at my skin. And you decided." She pauses. "I am not angry. I am clear. And clarity is much worse for people like you than anger ever was." She looks at Jordan. "Do it now." Jordan reaches back into the portfolio. He pulls out 5 sealed envelopes. Each one has a different name printed on the front. Jordan Williams holds the 5 envelopes up. The lobby cameras catch every name. He reads the first. Gregory Wilson, General Manager. Wilson's knees go soft. He puts a hand against the wall. Jordan walks to him, places the envelope in Wilson's hand, and folds his fingers around it. Notice of termination for cause. Defective immediately. Your access to this property ends at 4 p.m. Your company vehicle, corporate card, and building credentials are revoked. The clawback of your $1.2 million signing bonus begins tomorrow. A referral has been filed with the New York State Division of Human Rights for pattern discrimination. Wilson makes a sound, almost a laugh, mostly a sob. "Ms. Turner, please, may I speak with you privately? Faith does not turn her head. No, Mr. Wilson. You had 17 minutes to speak with me publicly. You chose how to use them. Jordan moves on. Victoria Anderson, Assistant General Manager. Victoria's clipboard is on the floor. She stumbles forward and grabs Faith's wrist. Miss Turner, please, I have 2 daughters. I didn't mean it, I swear. Faith looks down at the hand, then at Victoria. She gently, firmly removes Victoria's fingers, one by one. She returns the hand to Victoria's side like she is handing back a purse. Ms. Anderson, I've watched women like you speak to women like my mother my entire life. You meant every single word when you thought I could not afford to hear them. The hearing does not change the meaning. Victoria drops to her knees, sobbing. A press photographer takes one quiet photograph. It will be on every news network by morning. Brandon Davis, head concierge. Brandon is shaking his head before Jordan finishes. No. This is a mistake. I was doing my job. Your job, Faith says, was to check in a guest. You performed for your coworkers. There is a difference. Brandon takes the envelope with a hand that will not stop shaking. Caroline Brown, front desk supervisor. Caroline is still crying. Big, silent tears. Jordan picks her cracked phone off the marble. He holds it out to Officer Evelyn Johnson, who has just walked in with her partner. They were called 9 minutes ago. Officer, this device contains a video filmed without consent in our lobby, distributed in an internal staff group chat to mock our CEO. It is now evidence in a pending civil rights complaint. Officer Johnson slips the phone into an evidence bag, seals it, signs it. Caroline whispers,
Please, ma'am, I'll lose everything.
Faith looks at her, not with hate, with something harder. Ms. Brown, you recorded a video to humiliate a stranger. That video will now teach you what humiliation actually feels like. Learn from it. Jordan holds up the last envelope. Spencer Moore, Director of Security. Spencer has already removed his own radio. He holds it out like a surrender. Officer Johnson steps forward. Mr. Moore, turn around. Place your hands behind your back. You are under arrest for assault in the 3rd degree, unlawful search, and obstruction. Spencer turns. The cuffs click. As he has walked past Faith, he mutters something under his breath. It sounds a lot like the word bitch. Officer Johnson's jaw tightens. She writes on her notepad, a verbal slur directed at the victim during arrest. Admissible. On the record. Faith does not react. She nods once. Tell it to a judge, Mr. Moore. The revolving door spits him out into the rain. 2 flashbulbs go off on the sidewalk. Harper steps close to Faith. Her voice is gentle. Ma'am, your 3 o'clock meeting starts in 1 hour and 19 minutes. Faith picks up her duffel bag. She adjusts the strap. Then let's not be late. Margaret Smith is still sitting on the velvet bench. She is shaking. Faith walks over to her. She crouches down, eye level. Thank you. For everything you said. For everything you recorded. Margaret's eyes fill up. Honey, I would have done it for anyone. I know. That's why it matters. Faith stands. She walks past the crying ex-staff, toward the elevator bank. The lobby she walked into 17 minutes ago is a different lobby now. And she does not look back. The story breaks online in 6 hours. Caroline Brown's own video, the the one she filmed to mock Faith, the one she sent into the staff group chat, Crestwood T, gets leaked by a coworker who did not want to go down with the ship. By sundown, it is everywhere. TikTok, X, Instagram, Facebook, Reddit. The caption travels faster than the footage. Staff mocked a black CEO for dressing too cheap. Seconds later, they were all fired. 2.3 billion views in under 48 hours. 2 different hashtags trend simultaneously. Crestwood Shame hits #1 on X by 11 p.m. $12 CEO follows it at midnight. Target sells out of gray Hanes 3-packs nationwide in a day and a half. The sneaker Faith was wearing, a basic pair of white Nike Court Royales, retail $65, sells out in 7 hours. Resellers on eBay list them for $300. Teenagers start calling them the Faith Turner shoe. The New York Times runs the story on the front page of the business section. CNN leads with it. The View dedicates an entire segment. Essence puts Faith on its next cover, wearing, by her request, the same gray t-shirt. Daniel Moore of the Wall Street Journal files his piece at 2 a.m. the night of the incident. The headline goes down in business journalism history. The $12 t-shirt that cost a hotel chain $2.8 billion. Faith does one single interview. She sits down on CBS Mornings 3 days later. Same gray tee, same worn sneakers, hair natural. The anchor asks her the question everyone is asking. Ms. Turner, why didn't you just tell them who you were? Faith looks at the camera, not at the anchor, at the camera. Because my mother couldn't. Because the housekeeper coming up the service elevator right now can't. Because the black woman walking into a lobby tomorrow in a Hanes shirt can't. They weren't mocking my clothes. They were mocking every woman who has ever walked into a room and been told, without words, that she didn't belong there. The clip is shared 112 million times. The legal consequences come faster than anyone expects. The NAACP Legal Defense Fund announces a class action review of the Crestwood Grand's decade of guest treatment complaints. 6 former guests come forward within a week. 5 of them are black women. One is a Latina veteran in fatigues who had been refused service in the bar. Every single one of them had filed a complaint with Halloway. Every single one of them had been quietly settled for pennies and made to sign an NDA. The FBI Civil Rights Division opens a federal investigation 3 days after the incident. The Crestwood operates across state lines. That makes it their jurisdiction. Internal emails are subpoenaed. What comes back is devastating. Gregory Wilson, 2 years ago, circulated a memo to his front-of-house team. The subject line read, Guest Aesthetic Guidelines. In the body, he instructed staff to screen for guests who fit the property's visual standard. He used the phrase, dress appearance profiling. In writing. Twice. Victoria Anderson, in a group email, once joked about Section 8 ones who come in wearing bonnets. The Crestwood T group chat turns out to contain 184 messages spanning 2 years. 73% of the mocked guests were people of color. Caroline Brown had given Faith a nickname in the chat within the first 3 minutes of her walking in. The nickname was Cleaning Lady Number 4. When that detail leaks, the internet loses its mind. Spencer Moore is charged federally. Assault in the 3rd degree, unlawful search, deprivation of rights under color of authority because he was acting in a uniformed security capacity on a federally insured property. His prior record surfaces, 2 excessive force complaints from his private contractor days, both buried. His attempt to plead down falls apart when the public backlash makes leniency politically impossible. He is sentenced to 8 years in federal prison, plus $250,000 in restitution to Faith Turner, which she redirects in full to the family of a hotel housekeeper killed in a workplace accident 2 years earlier in Atlanta. The civil suits pile up next. Meridian funds 6 separate lawsuits by previous Crestwood guests whose complaints were buried. The combined settlement comes to $18.6 million. Faith personally matches that number out of her own pocket as a donation to a new legal defense fund. The fund has a name. She chose it herself. The Dignity Fund. For women and men in service and hospitality industries facing discrimination based on appearance, race, or class. Gregory Wilson is permanently barred from the hospitality industry by 3 major trade associations. He files a wrongful termination suit. It is thrown out in 90 days. He files an appeal. It is thrown out in 60. His wife files for divorce during the second news cycle. Victoria Anderson's real estate broker husband leaves her within a month. She ends up stocking overnight shelves at a regional grocery chain in New Jersey. Her manager, a black woman in her mid-40s, treats her with professional kindness every shift. Victoria does not say it out loud, but the irony wakes her up some nights at 3 a.m. Brandon Davis tries to rebrand as a lifestyle influencer. His launch video gets 30,000 dislikes in 4 hours, and he deletes his account. Caroline Brown posts a 16-minute tearful YouTube apology. The top comment, with 400,000 likes, reads simply, "Cleaning lady number 4 says hi." And the Crestwood Grand itself goes under audit. 220 staff positions are reviewed. 12 are terminated for cause, based on documented patterns of discriminatory conduct. Every remaining employee, most of whom are people of color, many of whom had quietly endured Wilson's regime for years, is given a raise. A union recognition vote passes with 88% in favor. New anti-discrimination training is designed in direct consultation with veteran black housekeepers, including 3 women who had worked under Wilson and had never once been asked for their opinion about anything. One of those women is named Angela Johnson. She has been the night shift housekeeping supervisor at the Crestwood for 22 years. 6 months after the incident, Faith Turner will hand her the keys to the entire property. But that part of the story happens in another season. 6 months later. The Crestwood Grand Hotel on 5th Avenue has a new name, spelled out in brushed bronze letters above the revolving doors. The Ruth Turner Grand. Inside the lobby, directly across from the front desk, the same desk where Brandon Davis once refused to check Faith in, hangs a photograph in a gold frame, 3 feet tall, lit from above. A woman in a gray housekeeping uniform, smiling, tired, holding a little girl with pigtails. Detroit, 1982. Underneath, a brass plaque reads, Ruth Turner, housekeeper, 1948 to 2014. This hotel is her house. Every new employee has walked past that photograph on their first day and told the story. About the Christmas Eve coffee. About the 11-year-old girl who made a promise. About the $12 shirt. Next to it, in a smaller framed case, hangs the gray Hanes t-shirt itself, the one Faith wore that day. Underneath, another plaque. Human dignity is not measured by the price of clothing. If you disagree, you do not belong here. Faith Turner, 2026. Today is the grand reopening. Faith arrives through the revolving doors at exactly 12:47 p.m. Same time she walked in 6 months ago. Same outfit. Gray Hanes tee, faded jeans, worn sneakers. This time, the entire lobby stands and applauds. Angela Johnson stands behind the front desk in a crisp, new manager's blazer. 22 years cleaning rooms on the night shift. Today, she is the general manager of the flagship property. She holds out a key card. "Ms. Turner, your presidential suite." Faith looks at the key. She does not take it. "Give it to the next housekeeper who works a double on Christmas Eve. Comp it. Every Christmas Eve. Every Crestwood property. Forever." Angela's eyes well up. She nods. "Yes, ma'am." The new hotel policy is printed on a card in every employee's locker. No dress code in the lobby. No appearance profiling. Every guest is greeted the same way, regardless of what they wear. If you cannot do this, you cannot work here. Margaret Smith drove in from Connecticut for the reopening. Faith embraces her in the middle of the lobby. The photograph will run in half a dozen Sunday papers. That night, Faith asks for a simple king room on a middle floor, not the presidential suite. She sits at the window, takes off the thin gold chain, lays her mother's wedding ring and the pearl earrings on the nightstand. She whispers, "We did it, Mama." She cries. It is the only time in the whole story she cries. The camera pans to the ring on the nightstand. Fifth Avenue below. The revolving doors below that. The lobby her mother used to clean. Now, her lobby. Listen, the story I just told you is fiction. But the feeling Faith walked into that lobby with, that is real. Millions of black women live that every single day. The being looked through. The sweetie. The honey. The being told without words that you do not belong. That is the part that should make us all sit up. Faith Turner's real weapon was not her money, not her lawyers, not the cameras outside. Her real weapon was that she refused, for 40 years, to become the thing they tried to make her. She stayed kind. She stayed patient. She stayed prepared. And when the moment came, the truth did the work. The lesson is not, be rich enough to buy the hotel. The lesson is, treat every single person who walks into the lobby like they might be the one who owns the building, because one day they might be. And even if they never are, they still deserved it. Every single one. Every single one of our mothers did. So now I want to hear from you. Have you ever been Faith in that lobby? Or, be honest with yourself, have you ever been one of the people behind the desk? The ones who saw her walk in and decided? Drop your story in the comments. Hit that like button if you believe dignity should never have a price tag. Subscribe, because next week we have another story that is going to have you on your feet. And remember, the most dangerous woman in any room is the one you just underestimated. Oh, so you're judging someone just because they're wearing a cheap little t-shirt? Wow, that says a whole lot more about you than it does about them. That $12 tee could belong to a billionaire, or simply to a genuinely good person. Either way, bruh, show them some respect. Always.